The U.S. military operation that led to the seizure of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro on Saturday sparked international alarm, with allies and foes of Washington and Caracas expressing disquiet. Countries such as Russia, Iran, which had long-standing ties with Maduro's government, they were quick to condemn the operation, but their alarm was also shared by Washington's allies, including France and overall the European Union. Russia demanded the U.S. leadership to reconsider its position and release the legally elected president of the sovereign country and his wife, although Moscow was given a cold shoulder by Trump, who said he's not thrilled with Putin. Trump also clarified that he didn't discuss Maduro with Putin in a recent call.
You had a phone call with him on Monday. Did he talk at all about Maduro? Did y'all talk about this?
No, we didn't. We never spoke about Maduro.
Are you mad at him right now? I mean, there's this intelligence.
I'm not thrilled with Putin. I'm not thrilled with Putin. He's killing too many people.
China, whose delegation met Maduro just hours before he was captured by U.S. forces. China also echoed Russia's sentiments. The Chinese Foreign Ministry asked U.S. to ensure Maduro's personal safety and his wife's safety. The ministry called on Washington to stop toppling Venezuela's government. Mexico condemned the U.S. attack and the capture of its president. Mexican President Sheinbaum said that her cabinet will assess Mexico's relationship with Venezuela. The EU, on the other hand, expressed concern at the developments and urged respect for international law. Even as it noted that Maduro lacked legitimacy, most European leaders were starkly divided on the legality and methods of the U.S. intervention. French President Macron cautiously responded to the American action in Caracas and said that U.S. operation undermined international law and that no solution to Venezuela's crisis can be imposed externally. Macron also endorsed Edmundo González Urrutia and spoke to opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. Chilean President Gabriel Boric condemned the U.S. attack on Venezuela and the capture of President Maduro, warning about the precedent that it could set. Coming to the European Union again, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said that Maduro had led his country to ruin, but called the U.S. action legally complex. Trump also got support from Italian Prime Minister Meloni, who argued that the U.S. military action in Venezuela was legitimate and defensive. Answering a question about Maduro, UK Prime Minister Starmer said that UK will shed no tears over US about the demise of Maduro's regime, but clarified that he needed to establish facts and that UK was not involved in the operation in any manner.
No, I haven't, and it's obviously a fast-moving situation, and we need to establish all the facts. What I can say is that the UK was not involved in any way in this operation. And as you'd expect, we're focusing on British nationals in Venezuela and working very closely with our embassy. And so I will want to talk to the President, I will want to talk to allies, but at the moment, I think we need to establish the facts.
Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiga instead focused on Maduro's lack of legitimacy and the Venezuelan government's repression, while Zelensky asked a rhetorical question on Venezuela.
How should one react to this? What can I say? If it's possible to deal with dictators this way, then the US knows what to do next.
Israel, US, all-weather allies, they hailed the American Israel, which is the U.S. all-weather ally, it hailed American nighttime operations in Caracas, saying that Washington acted as the leader of the free world. Netanyahu even went ahead and congratulated Trump for his bold and historic leadership. Now, just earlier, I had spoken with James Jackson from Berlin. Jackson is an independent journalist and award-winning documentary filmmaker. I did speak to him at length about the evolving situation and the developments which have been coming in just in the last 24 hours. Listen in.
Trump said is that our US oil companies are going to be running, that there's a lot of untapped oil reserves. In a sense, it's true. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves on the planet, but only produced about 1% of the world's crude oil or processed it in 2023 because of sanctions. But ultimately, I just want to compare this to the Iraq War. Now, people who are my age or older may remember at the time there was a lot of accusations of the US being in Iraq for oil because Iraq had some oil reserves, nothing like the size of Venezuela's, by the way. And what the US did back then was they tried to build an international coalition, mostly of Western European, Canadian allies, NATO allies, and to make it seem like this invasion back then was legal. Of course, without the UN Security Committee, Security Council's stamp of approval, it was not legal. But there were at least attempts to make it seem so. Whereas under President Donald Trump, I think we have truly entered a new era of US dominance.